So good morning, everyone. Now we are finishing a number from Derech Mitzvotecha. Derech Mitzvotecha, a book which was written by the third Rebbe of Chabad, the Tzemach Tzedek. And this is a mimer, a short mimer, talking about what is matzah and what is chametz. So, it explains that the whole difference between matzah and chametz is the letter hey or the letter ches. What's the difference? Also in appearance, you go and buy from the store matzah or chametz. A pound of matzah looks totally different from a pound of chametz. A pound of matzah is same. If you put them all together, it's maybe that high. A pound of chametz, of bread, would be puffed up like that. But you get a pound of bread. A pound of chametz is very low. And it says, why is it low? Because it shows on humility. And humility is the main ingredient of Pesach. Because on Pesach we are like babies. Pesach is the holiday when the Jews got out of Egypt. We were like babies that were born. Pesach is called the birthday of the Jewish people. Independence Day. Really, in another way, Independence Day is Shabbos, because we're independent of the world on Shabbos. Shabbos is really Jewish Independence Day. But Pesach, in a big way, for all the Jewish people, Shabbos is more individual, but Pesach is more of if you want to call that a national independence day. That's when the Jewish people got their identity. Pesach. We came out of Egypt. We were called the sons of God. When we got out of Egypt. That's what Moses told Pharaoh. Let the sons of God out. He says, B'ni B'chori Yisrael, my son, my chosen one Israel. My firstborn Israel. In that case, it means chosen. So the Jewish people that got out of Egypt, they were like babies. When you're baby, you have to have baby food. It means what? In this case, it means they were babies in their soul. What's the difference between a baby and a grown-up person? A grown-up person is independent. He can do what he wants. When the Jews got out of Egypt, they became independent from Paro. They became independent, but as far as God goes, they were like babies. They weren't independent. They were total servants. Total servants. So a total servant has to be very humble. Right? A servant comes in front of... Like I was just talking to Akiva. I was in Japan in the morning, in all the stores. He said all the stores. All I saw was in the grocery store. First thing in the morning, what do they all do? If you're the first customer, especially, first customer, you come and see this amazing sight. All the workers in the store, they're all lined up. Maybe men on one side, women on the other side. Could it be? Yeah. No. That could be. And they're all lined up. And they're all standing at attention. They're all smiling. And they all say something. Go in. And that's it. You see they're all standing in front, right? What are you standing? In America, you ever see something? What are they saying? I didn't know what they were saying. They're saying things like, the smile of the customer, of a satisfied customer, is our greatest reward. In other words, we are servants. We are servants of the customers. We are servants of our owner. Owner told us that our job is to make anyone who comes in the doors of this building happy. That's our job. In other words, that's being a servant. A servant means you don't have any will of your own. You do what you're told. When the Jews left Egypt, that's what they were. They were servants. They were like babies. They were total servants. All they thought about was how to make God happy, right? How to make Hashem pleased, to do Hashem's will. I think we could turn that off. Are you cold? You cold? Somebody cold here? Can we turn off the... Is it possible there? Can you just go up and just turn off that red button? Push it down. Excellent, excellent. Very good. Okay, so now we're talking about the letter Ches. The letter Ches. And this is essentially, by the way, the difference between Mashiach which is redemption, geula, and exile, gola. Mashiach is going to open up everybody's minds to Hashem. He's going to fill the world with the knowledge of God, which is not the case in the time of exile. It's exactly the same thing, but we just don't have an awareness of Hashem. There's no awareness of Hashem, so everybody acts like they're the boss, like they're Hashem. So that's the difference between matzah and chametz. Let's see. V'zeh sod galus ha-shechina. Last word in the shechina. U'kamoshe katuv, in the beginning of the line. U'kamoshe katuv, like it is written in the Zohar, and Eitz Chaim, al pasuk, on the pasuk, ragleha yordos, that her feet go down to death. You ever read in Mishlei? Mishlei. Over there it talks about also the evil woman. The evil woman, that she entices you, and her kisses are like honey, and she says, come, let's have a good time, let's enjoy life, come drink my wine, come this. He says you should know that she's only fooling you, and her feet go down to death. She wants to lead you down to death. In the beginning it's very pleasurable, you enjoy it, but it goes down to death. That's in general the Yetzer Hora. The Yetzer Hora, its design is to make you an egotist, take you away from Hashem, and kill you. That's what it wants. It says the Yetzer Hora is also the angel of death. Angel of death. So first of all, the Yetzer Hora tells a person, what do you have to keep Shabbos for? What do you have to do? Small things, big things, until finally a person just doesn't believe in Hashem. Doesn't believe in anything. And then after he doesn't believe in anything, then he does no problem. He can go totally against the will of God, and with no problems. Doesn't matter. He can do whatever he wants to. Marry whoever he wants, eat whatever he wants. What? Also, listen, people like that they have morals. It's not so. There's a certain sense of morals, but they're warped morals. Like for instance, in Germany, Nazi Germany, you couldn't kill a dog. If you killed a dog in the street, they would put you in. They had morals. They were very sensitive about what happened to dogs. They forbade shchita, ritual slaughtering, because they said it was inhuman to the animals. It was cruel to the animals. Meanwhile, they were killing, millions of all sorts of people. Anybody they didn't like, they were killing. They were killing Russians, and they were killing gypsies, and they were killing anybody that But because those people they saw as that was okay to kill people. They had their reasons why. A person can be dangerous, but a dog, what's wrong with the dog, right? But you also couldn't kill a German. You kill a German, they would put, what are you talking about? That's against. But you could kill a Frenchman. There's no problem. So they had morals. They had a certain sense, a sense of how do you say, laws. Exactly the opposite. If there was any people that were moral, they had a sense of morals and values, and the philosophies of ethics. It was the Germans. The Germans are maybe the most, sense of justice and equality, and that was one of the reasons how Hitler got everybody, the German people up. He said, listen, it's only justice that the Germans should win. We're the superior race. We have to have more land than everybody else. We're doing justice. It's good for the world. The Jews, we're helping everybody. So they had their own warped sense of morals. You have to. Or you don't, right? If you don't have some sort of sense of morals, you can have a society. Everybody will just be killing anybody else. Anybody they don't like, stealing everybody else's wife. You're stealing everybody else's money, their property. Nobody will know who their children are. Nobody will know what their belongs. There won't be any work. That's like what's happening in a lot of places in Russia. In Russia, that the mafia is so strong over there that the whole place in Mexico is now the places where there's no law. They make their own law. So the whole place is just total bedlam. Everybody's poor. They live in total poverty because you can't do business. As soon as you have money, somebody steals it from you. Right? There's no law. So you have to have law, even in a godless place, even in the most anti-Semitic or anti-God or whatever it is place. You have to have law. You have to have some sort of a system of justice. Right? But you have to have something we want to call them morals. But they can be warped. Right? They can be twisted. Right? In Germany, if you didn't want to go out and kill the enemy, whoever the enemy was, anybody who wasn't German, or in the Catholic Church, you didn't want to go out and kill, anybody else, or Muslims, they don't want to, all the other religions, then that's considered to be a sin. Then you're not a sin, you're also not a man, and you're not a so they're going to be warped more also. The question is being aware of the God of the Jews, the God that creates the world, the Creator, the God that only wants a good world. Right? That's why God gave the Torah in front of so many witnesses. There were 3 million witnesses. No other religion says that. All the religions have their Bibles, and they say our Bible is true. But we have, we have a Bible, and our claim is not even like anybody else's claim. God gave the Torah in front of 3 million witnesses so that everybody would know that this is God. He's creating the world. He's controlling the world. And this same God is telling us what's good. He's the manufacturer, and these are the manufacturer's instructions. So our God is creating us every second, brand new, and He's telling us what to do with ourselves. How to be happy. How to have real happiness. Well, that's very, by the way, a very interesting thing. There is a whole philosophy anyway called hedonism. Hedonism means just to have a good time. Usually it means having a good time physically. Then there's another philosophy which is called Epicureanism, which says you have a good time, but the best way to have a good time is by spiritual things. Right? And that's like Hinduism also. It's Hinduism also. You want the goal of Hinduism is to have a good time, but not a physical good time. That's stupid. That's stupid. That's wasting your time. You have a physical time. It's just wasting your time. You want to have a permanent good time. You want to go up to the upper worlds, but the whole thing is you. The whole thing is me, right? I'm going to have a good time. So they make up their own laws, right? They make up their own rules how you can feel good, according to their nature, right? A German feels good when he's out there fighting and killing and doing in the middle of war. That makes him feel good. It makes him feel good. A guy in India, right? He feels good. When does he feel good? When he's separated from the world. He's separated. Of course, there's people, that like to have pleasures. The main thing is when he's, coasting. He's out. He's not attached. There's attachment to the world. Then you feel good. But the whole name of the game is how you feel good. Hashem, when Hashem gave the Torah, it's a whole different story. I just read a Sikha now for the Rebbe last night. They made a thing upstairs. They wanted people to learn the Torah of the Rebbe all the time. So I got from 3:30 in the morning until 4:15. So I woke up in the morning. I didn't. I woke up and I learned this thing. So it's a beautiful Sikha. It's the Sikha of the Rebbe on Beis Nissan, that's the day that the Rebbe Rashab passed away. And also the day that the Rebbe Rayatz took over. And that Sikha is the one where the Rebbe says you have to say Yechi HaMelech. That's where this whole thing of Yechi Adonai comes from. So the Rebbe says over there that essentially that the king of the Jews is called the heart of the Jewish people. The heart of the Jews. And Hashem is also called the heart. Surah Levavi, Chelki, says that Hashem is our heart. So what's the thing about the heart? There's 3 centers of life in a human being. The brain, the heart, and the liver. So the brain and the liver are more or less always very calm. They're always very calm. The brain's true, it has thoughts, but it doesn't move around or anything. And the liver also, it just stays in one place. It just stays in the blood. So, but the heart is always moving. Heart is always moving. It's always pumping life to all the, right? The same thing, a person that really believes in God, he's always going to be active. He's always going to be moving. Could be that he's going to be moving in his mind. Spiritually, he'll be moving. Spiritually, emotionally, he'll always be fixing himself up. Like the previous Maimon we read about fixing up your animal soul. He's going to be alive. It's going to make you more active to do things in the world. Right? That's the idea of a Rebbe. That's the idea of a Rebbe. A Rebbe is the heart. Rebbe is the heart. And he pumps life. He pumps life everywhere. So the Rebbe said, life is the gematria Chaim. Chaim. Said, because we're talking about Beis Nissan, that's the date when the previous Rebbe became Rebbe. One of the reasons I'm talking about this right now is because somebody called me up and I promised that we'd learn about Geula and Mashiach in this hour. They're doing it to all the yeshivas, and this is our hour. So the Rebbe said, the previous Rebbe was Rebbe for 30 years. 10 of the years was in Russia. 10 of the years he was in Poland, because they kicked him out of Russia. When he got out of prison, they evicted him from Russia. 10 of the years was in Poland, and then he took the last boat out. He had the last ship out from Poland to America. They torpedoed it, they tried to torpedo it, amazing miracles happened. He left Russia, and then he came to America in 1940. 1941. So the last 10 years, he passed away in 1950. That was the last 10 years of his life. So the Rebbe said, that's the word Chaim. Chaim, the Rebbe said the Sikha in Taf Shin Mem Ches. Which is 48 years after the previous Rebbe passed away. He passed away in Tafshin Yud. This was in Memches, which is 38 years after the previous Rebbe passed away. So he says, that's Taf, Shin, Achayim. The two Yuds in the middle are the Yud is the first 10 years that the previous Rebbe was in Russia. The second Yud of Chaim, the second 10 years when the Rebbe was in Poland. And the Memches is the third period that he was there. This is why the third period? The third period is 10. Says 10 of those years was in the time that he was actually physically in the world with us, that we could see him. And that's Memches. 10 of those was the time he was physically with us. That's 10. Take away 10 from 48, what do you have? 38. That's the 38 years that the Rebbe was Rebbe. So the other 38 years, that's the time when the Rebbe continued his work in this world, even though he wasn't physically here, but his work is being continued. It's being continued. So that's Chaim. In other words, the Rebbe is saying that he's just an extension of the previous Rebbe. So the Rebbe said the way that we can give life to the king, he said that the king rules over the people, but the king depends on the people. The king, on the one hand, is the highest; he rules over the people, but he depends on the people. If there were no people, he wouldn't be able to be a king. And not only that, the people choose; they coronate the king. How do they coronate the king? The Rebbe said they say Yechiya Melech. That's what they said to King Saul. That's what they said to King David. Yechiya Melech, long live a king. So when you say Yechiya Melech, is that adds life to the king, to all the kings, up to King David, the main king, David Melech Mashiach, and that brings Mashiach back into life, to Chaim, to life. So that's why you should say Yechiya Melech, and that makes the heart, the things come alive. So it's the same thing here, that's what the Rebbe is saying. If a person really believes in Hashem, it gives him more energy, more life, more active. He's more positive. Right? It makes him more happy if he believes in Hashem. If not, he could have a good time temporarily, but that's not really life. It's not really Chaim. It's not really being alive. Okay, let's go. Says, that's the secret of Galus HaShekhinah. U'kamoshe katuv, and like it is written in the Zohar, and Eitz Chaim, you with us, Kobe? Al pasuk, on a pasuk, quote, Ragleho, her feet, Yordos, go down, Mavis, they go down to death. It doesn't say death here, but that's what it is. Her feet go down to death. Shenetzach hod yesod, that netzach hod yesod, which we said before, that's the left leg of the chet, letter chet. Shechim are drawing down Bria Yetzir Nasiya into the lower worlds. Usually when we talk about Sfirot, we're talking about Atzilut. The world of Atzilut is pure Sfirot, pure godliness. Says that's the source of all the worlds, but if it's the letter Chet, there's no little hole, then all there is a hole down below. Netzach Hod Yesod goes down into the lower worlds. Things descend. Shesham, that there, in Netzach, and Bria Yetzir Nasiya, is Mama, that's the place where there's klippas. That's where evil and bad and selfishness starts. That's the letter Chet. That's Chometz. Avo, but hey, in the letter Hey, Yesh, there is. Bein Regala Smoli. Take the pencil, Kobe, write with the pencil, write with the pencil. Yesh, there is. Bein Regala Smoli, between the left leg. I want to call up this. There is between the left leg and the letter Hey, Legago, to the top, to the roof, to the ceiling, there is a petach, there's an opening. Petach is an opening. Write it down, Kobe. Write it down. Kobe. Write it down. Petach, there's an opening. V'al zeh, and on this, al zeh ne'amar, it says, Piha, her mouth, Patcha, is open, B'chachma, in wisdom. About evil, it says that her feet go down to death. On holiness, it says that her mouth is open to wisdom. What is wisdom? We said before, wisdom is this level of faith. Shuhu, which is bechinat, the level of he'arat. The shine, chachma of wisdom, of chachma of faith, godliness. Hameir, which shines down b'malchus, into malchus. Commotion is b'la'el, like we explained before, ba'arichut, in long length. The mitzvahs and the mitzvah of achilas matzah. When we talked about eating matzah, inyan, the whole topic of he'ara, re, zu, this. Mahi, what it is. That's this level of chachma. There's all these stories about these people who left Judaism, or they have nothing to do with Judaism, or goyim that hate Jews or something, and all of a sudden they get this awareness, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I'm wrecking my life, I have to stop this. Who am I? What happened? Right? That's this ray of chachma. All of a sudden just hits him in the middle, right? He's sitting in some bar in Holland or something. He thinks to himself, wow, I'm a Jew. How can this be? Right? Somebody asked him to put on tefillin, or he hears on the television, today is the Jewish Day of Atonement. Right? Jews are flocking to the world. And now for news from the soccer team, right? He thinks, wow, Jew, I'm a Jew. That's this ray of chachma. Suddenly he gets this little shot of chachma and says, whoa, what's going on here? I'm a Jew. What am I doing? What am I eating? What am I saying? Who am I with? What's going on here? That's this ray of chachma. That's the letter Hey. Hine, period. Okay, with us, Kobe. You sure? Where are we? What's the first next word? Close. A line down that. Hine, behold. See, the first word in line is mitzvahs. Hine, behold. Chachma and chachma. Regarding this aspect of chachma, which we said is what? That's like faith. It's the highest of the 10 attributes of the soul. Chachma, kativ, it is written, yamutu, they will die, v'lo b'chachma, they will die, but not in chachma. Where there's chachma, where there's this aspect of faith in Hashem, there is no death. Shahachitzonim, that the evil, chitzonim means external powers, hanikraim, maybe you can sit here. Hanikraim, which are called, hachitzonim, write this down. Kobe, you don't know these words, you're just dreaming, you're floating, sinking. Hachitzonim, the evil. Chitzonim, that the forces of evil. Chitzonim means external forces, things that are external to Hashem. Hanikram, which are called meitim, which are called dead. First one in line is this quote, Eov. See? Ein laem, there is not to them, yenika, any nurture from chachma. Why not? Because chachma is bechinat bittul, is the level of bittul. Surrender to Hashem. Koach ma, the power of ma. Ma, we said before, was bittul. Shezeh, so this is the secret of matzah. So what, listen, a very amazing thing, rabbis. When God created the world, man was supposed to live forever. Was supposed to live forever in his body. Live forever. Can you believe that, Kobe? You think that's possible? A person living forever? Forever, eternally. What's the first thing that pops into your mind when you say that a person lives forever? Kobe, are you with us? What's the first thing to think? Then naturally, if I say, you're going to live forever, what was living forever? What would you think? What? That would be cool. Why would it be cool? Most people say living forever, if they take it seriously, that must be pretty boring. Living forever. You just get older and older and older and older and older. What are you going to do? There must be some point, right? Living for. Maybe you say you're going to always be young. Oh, that's good. Maybe. Who knows? But after a while, you'd also get bored with that also, right? How many football games can you see? Right? How many? Always being young. So the answer is no. The way that a person can live forever, nowadays you can't do it. But the way that it's going to be again, it says in Mount Sinai, if the Jews wouldn't have sinned with the golden calf, they would have lived forever. What happens when you live forever? When you live forever, all you think about is Hashem. You're always aware of Hashem. And because you're always aware of Hashem, it's always happy. Why are you always happy? Because Hashem is creating the world and He's always giving you tasks what to do. And when you're doing what Hashem wants, you're doing something meaningful, you're happy. I said this before, all of communism, the whole thing of communism, which has inflamed the minds of hundreds of millions of people, the main thing of communism was everyone's going to work. You're all going to have work. You're going to be meaningful. You're going to have work. You're going to have your needs. You can develop yourself. That's all communism was. Right? And now that we have capitalism, as people, they're doing meaningless jobs. They have no meaning in their life. They can't be fulfilled. They can't develop themselves. Right? There's people that are out of work. People out of work. In communism, everyone will work according to his ability and receive according to his needs. People say, "Oh, that's great." Right? That's exactly what God created the world for. Yes. But it has the problem with communism was they said you have to leave God. We'll do it on our own. And it can't be that way. There's no meaning in life. There's nothing above you. It says the letter Hey represents this ultimate state where everybody's aware of Hashem. The world is the way Hashem created it, that everybody is happy, everybody has it working according to his ability, but it's going to be meaningful. They won't do stupid jobs like work in factories and put the same